Frankenstein's monster has lived 1,000 lives, from literature to stage to film to the collective nightmares of millions of people everywhere. Mary Shelley did not only give life to a genre, she birthed a mirror. Every retelling of Frankenstein, every documentary, every biopic is about looking into that mirror to understand the ambition, the guilt that can come from creation itself. So, in honor of the most famous reanimated corpse on the planet, we are taking a tour through the documentaries and creators and parsing out what we can. 2017's Mary Shelley is a Gothic biopic starring Ellie Fanning in the title role. The movie follows her famously turbulent romance with poet Percy Shelley, her struggling for recognition, and eventually we get the impetus of Frankenstein. The result ends up feeling equal parts historical drama and tragic love story. It is a slow movie, and I wish Mary had a little more agency of her own in her own story, but from what I understand, it captures the atmosphere of the late 19th century society. It was a world that feared women who were educated. Looking at this for what it is, a portrayal of the woman who created one of the most important modern myths, it's imperfect, but I found it endlessly fascinating. Pride and the Prejudice meets Crimson Peak, minus the ghosts, but keep all of the emotional rot. This BBC documentary is the oldest on our list and easily the most vital, as well as easily accessible. Everyman, the true story of Frankenstein, doesn't only retell Mary Shelley's story, it deconstructs it entirely. It traces her emotional and intellectual journey side by side with reflections from creators that are still relevant today on the book and its structure. It is one of the rare mixes of reverence and realism. Not afraid to point out the flaws or contradictions in the story, Mel Brooks weighs in and gives a pretty scathing read on the original book structurally. What struck me most was how it framed Frankenstein as both a myth and a mirror, the story constantly reshaping itself with new generations. This documentary probably influenced my Through My Eyes Frankenstein video essay more than any other on this list. If you are Frankophile, I hope that isn't something else. Definitely check this out. Building the Perfect Beast opts to do something different instead of just rehashing the origins of Mary Shelley's novel. It explores how Frankenstein was mutated through pop culture. It celebrates the legacy of the story over its creation, featuring interviews from writers, filmmakers, and special effects legends who elaborate how Shelley and her story shaped their work. There is a really cool moment in here where they talk about how in early screenings of the 1931 adaptation, they paid extras to faint and run out of the theaters. Something that I knew happened, but not for that movie specifically. What makes this stand out as a documentary is the energy. It is so damned earnest. It explains literary theory like the speaker just discovered it with this first time eagerness. This definitely isn't a groundbreaking documentary, but it's a great little love letter to Shelley's legacy as a creative force. When latex meets Mary Shelley's legacy, creature designers, the Frankenstein complex is a love letter to the special effects artists who keep monsters alive in the hollows of our minds in the most literal sense. We get interviews from Rick Baker and Guillermo del Toro, a full decade before his adaptation. It explains the Frankenstein archetype, how it became the heart of the modern special effects industry, and so many little insights into the special effects world. It is really cool how everyone talks about Mary Shelley's influence. Every artist talks about creation and consequence and control, the kind of things Dr. Frankenstein faced. I didn't get a ton of info here that I didn't know about already, but it is a really affectionate piece that keeps horror, legacy, and humanity at its center. It doesn't do anything overcomplicated, just celebrates passion, and that is absolutely okay. The Strange Life of Dr. Frankenstein is easily the most academic of the essays I watched, and I mean that in the best way possible. It is straightforward, diving into Mary Shelley's life and influences. It is structured through the voices of scholars and biographers, which doesn't make for the most thrilling or energetic productions, but it is genuinely informative and well organized. I would probably recommend this as the best companion piece for students or the first time readers to Frankenstein that want to get a little more into the themes and etymology of the story. I appreciate it, especially how it centers on Mary Shelley herself over her monster, giving long overdue credit to the teenage girl who rewired literature in the West. This is nothing flashy, but it illuminates in its own earnest way. So now let's move into YouTube channels. And when talking about great YouTube channels, I gotta shout out Cinema Force, a channel built on collaboration and a passion for cinema. I don't think Hammer Studios gets enough love here on YouTube, but their Hammer Horror retrospective by Michael H. Price is easily one of the best ones we've got, and a great introduction to the studio's legacy. It does a great job of balancing research with affection. I had the privilege of working with Eric Clapp from the channel when working on the Through My Eyes Frankenstein video earlier this month, and honestly, that experience was enough to cement my admiration for the group alone. They are collaborative, they are kind, and they are especially dedicated to pushing thoughtful and well researched film discourse. Every video of theirs that I have seen is polished, well paced, and emphasizes credit to both the creators of the video and the pieces being discussed. If you were wondering what happened to the best kind of film critic, the kind that not only tear things down but analyze and build a community, they're right here. So DeadMeat sells itself as horror's safe haven, and it absolutely lives up to that title. While they haven't tackled the whole of Frankenstein, the handful of Franken movies they have covered are some of the best videos in the channel's history. Their Frankenhooker kill count is one of my all-time favorite videos of theirs, along with the original Invisible Man kill count that introduced me to the channel. James and Chelsea bring a truly infectious enthusiasm to everything they touch. From my interactions I've had with them at cons, they are genuinely the best kind of people. All the series on their channel, whether the podcast or the kill count, honors the craft, effort, and history of the entire horror genre. If the YouTubes ever went to hell and the kill count episodes were ever released as like official DVD extras, you can be damn sure I would buy the full library. After Dark History and their podcast episode on Mary Shelley and Frankenstein is easily the most informative, independently creative video I found online. There is not a piece out there, including the larger budget documentaries, that balance themes with history, context, and rumor, even. It is smart, macabre, and the hosts are endlessly listenable, managing to both sound accessible and educated while bringing in a stellar guest lineup. They do a ton of deep dives into Gothic phenomena. I love their episode on Spring-Heeled Jack. It makes their entire catalog worth going through. Easily the piece that gave me the most validation while putting together my video essay. This is definitely a must listen for anyone who loves history and their literature. And MattDraper is a fantastic video essayist here on YouTube. He has been going through the Universal monsters one by one, including Frankenstein, making retrospectives that have become the standard here on YouTube for me. Each of his videos have a strong thesis exploring the film's plots as well as their place in culture and their evolution in cinematic history. Draper gives a super chill narration that balances with great pacing, which makes every video feel dense with history without feeling rushed. His work has absolutely shaped how I think about my channel and my work, and I know I am bringing him up again next month when I talk about Heisei Godzilla. Please check out his channel and that video coming up next week. So that was our rush through the Frankenstein supplementals that helped me shape my understanding for Mary Shelley's creature and the video I built around it. I love how every fan, from BBC professors in the 80s to YouTubers today, gets something entirely different out of this story. We cannot help but keep coming back to Shelley's creation, trying to understand what makes it human, or what makes humanity so monstrous. Now, as soon as I get to see Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, I will get part 5 of this marathon up on the YouTubes, but while that waits, we are, again, giving Heisei Godzilla as much love as we can next month.